Welcome to Meliora's channel, your go-to place for C# and data analysis tutorials, products hands-on demos, and insider secrets to keep you at the cutting edge of innovation. Our goal is to break down complex tech topics to a level that you will easily understand to supercharge your skills. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Hello, you're welcome back to this channel. Today, we are continuing our journey exploring the string manipulation functions, trying to explain them in great details for you to understand and for you to appreciate and then understand how to apply them to various applications. So as you can see on the screen, my Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition is open, and you are looking at the main window of the string manipulation app that I demoed in the last video. And the app has the two key files associated with WPF applications, which are the XAML, the main window XAML file, and then the main window XAML C# file. So this is not a WPF training video, so I'm not going to go in detail to explain all the WPF tags that are used in this particular app, but I will just give you the basics that are necessary for you to understand what we'll be discussing today. So the window, the app, is made up of just a single window, which is here on the tag. So this single window. So it's made up of this single window, and which is this single window here. And then within the window, you've got a stack panel. Remember, in the WPF video, we explained the behavior of a stack panel. So we choose a stack panel because that stack panel behavior enables us to stack things down. And then within the stack panel, you now have a grid. And that grid has 3 columns. This is the first column, then this is the second column, and then this is the third column. And remember, in terms of referencing these various columns of the grid, this will be referenced as 0, column 0, column, the middle one is referenced as column 1, and then the last one on the right, on the far right, is referenced as column 2. So there are 3 columns, the reference 0, 1, 2, not 1, 2, 3. So, and then within the grid, you've got now 2 stack panels. So this is one. Now within the grid, you have one main stack panel, which references the grid column 1. So that stack panel ensures that everything within the stack panel is displayed within the grid column 1, which is this. And then within that stack panel, we've got 2 more stack panels. And the first stack panel is the stack panel that displays all the text control elements, the text block, the text box. So all the text block and text box elements on this WPF window are actually within this first sub stack panel, if you like. And then the second stack panel, which is this, now contains all the buttons. All the buttons that actually represent each of the string function that we want to discuss. So all these string functions highlighted here, or itemized here, on buttons, they are all represented by a button. Now, I think the only other important information to give is that everything on the text block, the text box, all of them, they all have a name. So if you look at the enter first name text block, for instance, it's got a name here. The name is T block F name, and then the text box, which is where the user enters the first name, for instance, equally has a name, T box F name. Now, we give all these things names because we know we'll be referencing them. We'll be utilizing this name to change the information displayed in that text block or text box control element within the code behind, which is this within the C# file. So it's important for you to always remember the names that you give control elements on the user interface design on the examiner for WPF applications, because you will need those names to be able to manipulate the content of those control elements from within the code behind. So I think with that, that's basically all I think will be important to talk about in the user interface side of things at the moment. So just to conclude on the names, also the buttons equally have a name. Every button here has a name. So you can see their names here. So the substitution button is called BTN string substitution, and they all have names, because again, when you want to reference the button to do anything with it, you need to use this name. But more importantly for buttons is the click. So the click event, every of the button has a click event, and this click event defines the handler that is associated with this button when it is clicked. So the handler is where we'll be doing most of our work to show how the various functions are actually built up or utilized. So the various string functions, how they are utilized. So if you look at the string function, for instance, which is this. So when this string function, the length function, when this length function is clicked, then this is the click event that will fire off the handler within the code behind, and then the handler will now utilize this length function to show you the example and return a result that will show you the example of how the length function works. So, and that is how every button here is actually structured. So without further delay, let's then get into discussing the main topic of the day, which is to look at the basic functions, so the basic string functions and the functions. So we'll be starting with the first one here, which is substitution or interpolation. So let me go to the code behind, which is the C# file now, and then we talk about this substitution. So this substitution, in string substitution, when you are dealing with strings, usually, for instance, you can, if I wanted to get a concatenation, for instance, of first name and last name, you can see that right at the beginning, from the main window, immediately after the initialization component, you can now see that the text box for first name is actually defaulted to Bernard, or assigned a value for Bernard, and then the text box for last name is assigned the value Eze. So as at the time of clicking the button, these were the values of these two control elements. So if you come here, suppose I wanted to get what is the full name, for instance. So using the normal standard, so I would say tbox full name.text, which is the name of the full box control element, and then say the first name, so T box first name, which is this. I can actually just copy it here, but this one, but it's already IntelliSense is helping, so we can just use the IntelliSense. So I don't want any trim, so just text, and then you can say plus the surname, so you again get the T box last name dot text. So you do this and you put dot text, and then so now you have a full name. But remember, with this you will just get Bernardese without any space in between, because there's no space that you included here. So if you want that space in between, then you have to put a space in between here to do, and then place sign. So you're adding the first name. Oh, sorry, this is first name, not full name. So you're adding the first name and space, and then the last name, to get a full name that is now Bernard space Eze. So this is, if you run this at this moment, let's run it and click substitution. So if you run this at this moment, let's see what it gives us out there. Yeah, so the Bernard Eze is here, so there's nothing in full name now. If we click this, because of what we've done now, you see Bernard Eze here. Now let's go back and remove this space that we put here, for instance, so that you can appreciate what we are doing. So if we remove this and run it again, then you see that Bernard Eze will be squashed together and there's no space in between. So again, Bernard Eze is still there as first name and last name. So but full name, if we run this, you see it's showing Bernard Eze but without anything in between. So let me go back and put back this space, and then we can now progress to explain what substitution means. So if I put it back here, this now gives us a, so supposing I comment out this now, and supposing I use another format called substitution, which is the subject of this, and I just say I want T box full name now dot text to be equal to, then I say opening and closing quotes, and just before then you put, before the first opening quote, you put $sign, and this $sign is the sign for substitution, and then you end that statement with a semicolon. Then inside the quotes you can actually put as many opening and closing braces as you deem to require. So within each opening and closing quote, within each opening and closing braces, then you put a variable name or a control element name that you want substituted by the value in that particular variable or element. So in this particular case, we want the first name here, so the T box first name dot text, and then we want the last name here, so T box last name dot text, and then because these are the only two we want in this particular instance, so we just delete the rest of the curly braces. And then if you run this now, you again will come back to the issue we had before, which was Bernard Eze without any space. But let's just run it so that you see what I mean. So if you click substitution, it has, through the use of substitution, concatenated these two values, Bernard and Eze, but without any space in between them. So let's go back now and see how we add space. So it says substitution approach, it is pretty much easy, as if you're speaking, you're just writing in your natural form. So you just come after the substitution for first name, you just put a space in between, and that's all. You don't need to do anything highly technical. So you do this, and then you now see that when you click this, you actually see that there is already space, Bernard Eze, with a space in between. So if you go back, and to complete this, just by ensuring that this result displays, or even to let you see the power of this, I can actually come here and say the full name, or your full name is and I just put colon here, and then if I run this, it will now tell you your full name is Bernard Eze. So when I do this, you see your full name is Bernard Eze. So it's just as simple and straightforward as this. That's why this is actually my, in my view, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, constructs within the string manipulation set of functions. So let me go back and just remove this, and then just put for our result area, just to make sure that the result reflects what we want to do. So for our result text box, I will just basically uncomment this, which is again saying just that it's basically just giving you the text information that will now be displayed as the text block element that is associated with this. And then if you uncomment the results area, then it also now uses this through substitution again to give you what the first name and the last name and then the full name are. So the first name in this case will just be through substitution to pick whatever value is in the first name box, and then last name is through substitution it will pick what the last name dot text is, and then finally through substitution it will pick what the full name dot text is, and this full name it will pick from this full name that we've done here. Then the first name it will pick from the first name that is set here, and then the last name it will pick from this T-box last name that was set here. So with this, if you run this now, you now have a complete set of results for the substitution string manipulation approach, and that's it. So it's telling you now Bernard Eze through substitution will give you full name of Bernard Eze with a space in between, and then it tells you clearly how it's done. First name is Bernard, last name is Eze, and then full name is Bernard Eze, just to recount how you use substitution easily to display this sort of statement. So I think this brings us to the end of this particular function. So in the next video we'll take a look at the length function and probably the split function together, if time will permit us to take those two in one video. So thank you for watching, and see you shortly in the next video. Thank you for watching, and if you learned something new or enjoyed this video, be sure to show us support by clicking like and subscribe. Your support helps us to bring you even better content, so stay tuned for the next exciting video. You can also click the link below to see other free and paid videos on other exciting topics. If the click did not work, kindly copy the link and paste on your browser. Thank you and see you in the next video.